What's happening, Hardscapers? This is episode 335 of the How to Hardscape podcast, where we talk about how you can start and grow your hardscaping business. And on today's episode, this is from HNA, Hardscape North America in Louisville, Kentucky. This past week, I walked around and did 7 different interviews with 7 different contractors, asking them about their season, how their business has been, as well as what is one thing you're struggling with or trying to actively improve in your business at this time. But before we get into today's episode, we want to say thank you to our sponsors. Cycle CPA. If you're looking for bookkeeping, accounting, CFO services, reach out to Cycle CPA at cyclecpa.com. Let them know How to Hardscape sent you for money off their services there. Patio SEO has hopped on board as a sponsor, and they are a leading marketing and brand building company in the hardscape industry. And if you don't know, this company is run by James Reed. We've had him on the podcast a couple of times, some of our more popular episodes, and he owns hardscape businesses across the country. And now you can have access to the same in-house marketing team that he has access to at patioseo.com. So if you're looking for a killer website, targeted ads, or data-driven strategies to grow, check them out at patioseo.com. And Knowledge Tree Consulting. George and Peter there are efficiency consultants in our industry, and I've had the privilege of having them both on one episode of the How to Hardscape podcast, and George multiple other times. Always great episodes, and I also got to sit down on a one-on-one with George and went through what they do for businesses, and I left that meeting with a lot of value, so I can't recommend them enough. If you want to learn more about what they do, go to knowledgetreeconsulting.com and get that conversation started with them today. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Okay, Jeremy Swihart, J Squared Outdoor. Jeremy, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How's the season been for you so far?
It's been a great season, very strong, lots of work. Can't complain.
Nice. One question I'm going to ask everybody that I talk to: what's one thing you're struggling with right now in your business, or trying to improve in your business?
We have everything figured out. I don't have any struggles whatsoever. It's
That's quite the life, man. Holy.
It's great. No, probably just keeping stocked with solid sales, I would say. Keeping a really strong backlog.
Is it pretty up and down this year for you, or what's the sort of situation been like for the market?
Yeah, it was kind of like really busy in the spring, and then it kind of falls off a little bit. So trying to figure out how to keep it like steady, busy. We stay busy, but we'd like to have more in the pipeline consistently.
Where are you getting most of your leads from?
Oh, I don't know. Word of mouth, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff, like just regular marketing.
Beautiful. You're doing mostly the design build, so you'll do the design for everything. If they don't sign on for a design, you won't take it on, or will you take on most type of work?
Yeah, we'll do everything, like design build, bid build. We've been doing a lot of like weird projects, retaining walls, boulder work, commercial stuff. But we like the design, like swimming pool design builds, like our favorite thing to do.
Jeremy, anything else you want to leave our audience with? This is the How to Hardscape podcast. This is not the Not Our Finest Hour podcast. But if you want, what is one thing you want to leave the audience with here for going into 2026? So something that you can give them.
What I do is I listen to the Not Our Finest Hour podcast every Friday when it comes out, and that's really how I've kept my motivation levels high throughout the season, and really I think that's made me a successful contractor.
So that's a good plug in there for Not Our Finest Hour. Chad hands him our commission fee there for that. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Absolutely.
All right, here at HNA, and I'm joined by
Jason Lee with Skyfrog Landscape.
Beautiful. Jason, how long have you been in business for?
Been in business for 15 years.
Awesome. And how many employees, crews do you run?
We run about 25 to 30 employees depending on the season.
Beautiful. And services that you cover?
So we're a full-service landscape company, design, build, and maintenance.
And one thing that I'm asking everybody at the show that's a business owner is, we go through all these different growth cycles in our business, but what's one thing right now that you're currently struggling with or trying to improve in your business?
So we've worked on a lot of things in our business to improve it along the way, including systems and processes and SOPs and all the things that you hear about that you should be working on. And we've had great success in making a lot of changes. But one of my biggest struggles is the implementation of all that stuff that we work on. We work on it constantly, and it's just keeping it on the forefront of your mind, getting everything implemented, and it becoming a habit in your business to make it successful long term. And I think that perpetually, some things you're just going to have to keep working on forever, and it's okay. Yeah.
How are you trying to get your employees to like grab hold of a new policy or something that you're working on? Have you tried like a reward structure at all, or is it more so just preaching it to them to get them to kind of bite into it?
So we've tried different incentives in the past, and they're great. They work for a little while, but then they kind of just fade away, or they don't mean as much. So it's really just leading by example, and I guess repetition of whatever it is. Enter in the example of what you may think it would be, but just the repetition of that so that it becomes a habit, and then managing it and keeping someone there for an accountability factor, just to keep the ball moving forward.
Do you use anything to keep track of that accountability, or to like software storage or anything like that, just to know where guys are at and where they can improve?
So we're trying to find a better home for all of that. We use Single Ops for CRM software, so that keeps us organized in our scheduling and jobs, and which is great because we've had issues with that in the past of scheduling and guys not showing up to the right maintenance accounts or skipping jobs or missing jobs. And so that keeps us really in line on the CRM side of things. But on the SOP side of things, we have a very unorganized Google Drive that everything lives in. So we filter our way through that and try to keep everything there in a home, at least a home base. And then some of the stuff we still just go back to pen and paper on. Checklist at the end of the day. Hey, here's a folder with a piece of paper in it. Physically check your box and make sure all of your equipment came back with you to the shop.
Beautiful. Okay, Jason, one thing I always ask business owners when they come on the podcast is a horror story that they've experienced in their time in business. Do you have something you could share with our audience? This is more so because our audience is usually just starting out in business or really early on in their business. So we try to ask this to kind of let them know what they could get into and maybe put some guardrails in place to help prevent that.
So we've had lots of stories that would be horror or struggles over the years, but I'll just go ahead and I got one that takes the cake. So in 2021, and this is very abnormal for someone starting out, but in 2021, we had an employee that was hit us for credit card fraud and then was also forging checks. And said employee, after he forged a few checks, came in one night, stole some more checks, and then took a 5-gallon can of gasoline and set our office on fire. So in 2021, that happened. We've still been in recovery mode since. At the end of the day, that's an awful tragedy for us to go through, but que sera, sera, life moves on. We powered through it, and we've still got some rebuilding to do, but we're moving forward. But yeah, that's my biggest horror story so far.
What's one? I was going to ask my last question, but how do you even move forward from something like that? That really takes your sales into the system. Like most guys, I think would just maybe even shut up shop and kind of move on. But you continue through it. How do you go about that?
So I don't know. I guess I deal with stressful situations and problem solving decently well, like whenever the shit really hits the fan. So we had some time to process it overnight, once we figured out what was going on. Luckily, it affected a large portion of our shop, complete total of our offices, but none of our equipment was damaged. So by the time the next morning rolled around, everybody shows up to work, it's like, hey guys, like everyone's in shock and awe. Walking into this, they don't know what's happened. We've obviously been there for 8 hours with the fire department. But it's like, have a company meeting. We tell them what's going on. Everybody's in shock. Everybody wants to know what they can do to help. It's like, man, the biggest help you can do is just get in your truck and go to work. Do your jobs, do them well, so we can send our bills and get paid, and then let me figure out everything else. So now if we would have had equipment damage, that would have set us back, a little bit farther. But yeah, it was enough of a loss as it was. So we got lucky on that front.
Jason, what's one thing you know now that you wish you knew from the very beginning? We ask this to every business owner. This could be personal related, this could be business related, but going back, what's one thing you know now that you wish you knew from the very beginning?
I don't know if it's something that I know, but I would be a little bit more open-minded to other people's opinions and thoughts. So when I was younger, it was very much I'm moving forward, and some people were giving me some advice along the way, and it may not have sunk in as much as it was, but now I kind of take a step back in certain situations and process it and try to look at things from the outside before I make decisions. So I guess taking a little bit more time to make decisions and really process everything that's going on around you.
And Jason, besides the business, you also have a podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we have a podcast, Green Side Up podcast. We drop an episode every Thursday. I do it with one of my best friends, Jordan Upcavage. He has a tree service in Tampa, Florida. Our landscape business is based in Gainesville, Florida. We've been doing it for about a year and a half, and we just kind of tell war stories like the questions you just asked. Try to provide some information to the industry. Maybe not necessarily from a preaching standpoint, but hey, this is what's going on in our real life businesses. Here's some successes. Here's how we're getting our butts kicked every day. Just kind of present it how it is.
Beautiful, Jason. Thanks for joining the How to Hardscape podcast.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay, here at HNA, I'm joined by
the one and only arborist here in the hardscape part of the conference.
Jordan, your business.
I am, yeah. So my name is Jordan Upcavage. I am Vice President of Independent Tree Service in Tampa, Florida.
Beautiful. And how long have you been in business for?
So I work for my dad. My dad started Independent Tree Service in 1978. So we've been around for 47 years. Actually studied horticulture in college because I wanted to be a tree guy ever since I was a kid. So I did college, finished that, and then joined the family business and grew it a little bit. Hired my sister. So my sister runs the office, and we are a legitimate family business practicing arboriculture.
Nice. And how many crews, employees you got?
Yeah, so we run 5 crews, and there's probably 23 folks in the field, a mix of ground persons, equipment operators to CDL drivers, climbers, what have you.
So we talked earlier, and it's high volume, like getting leads in and everything like that. Where are you getting your leads, and where have you kind of doubled down on it maybe in the recent to be able to get more leads?
So for a long time, it was a lot of ground and pound, right? The business has been around for a while. It's pretty established. So there's a lot of repeat and referral clientele that we have. And the service that we offer, our niche, is not tree cutting service. It's arboriculture. So the client will hire us for the specialty, the knowledge base, the science of it, to then help best direct their decision making to accomplish whatever goal they have. Reduce risk, cut the tree down, keep it alive, plant healthcare, whatever it may be. So a big lead source is repeat referral by doing quality work, being a professional, following up and making sure that your client is satisfied. So that's the best. And that's this is no news to anybody, right? But that is the absolute best, is gold. A repeat customer, fish on. A direct referral, fish on. And then for new business, everything changes in time, right? There's yellow pages, and then that got, transitioned a little bit. There was Angie's List, okay? Then now that's a whole lot of Google. So we've progressed in that. For new business that's not referral, it's pretty heavy on Google for us to get them.
And those follow-ups, how many clients are unhappy or want you to fix something which, causes you to invest a little bit more time into that project? Just asking because that's something that a lot of people don't do, and I'm sure it's a very low percentage that you have to fix that. And that can lead to, hey, do you have anybody else that you can kind of refer us to, right?
Yeah, so, for fixing things break. Right, we make errors and mess up, okay? A window, a screen, a sidewalk, well, we fix it, okay? But as far as unhappy customer, where the outcome was not what they thought it was going to look like, that happens, but your assumption is right. It's not common for there to be unhappiness with the client at the end of the project. And we're talking residential for this. And I think part of that is because when they hire us for the initial consultation, they're inviting us to their property for that knowledge base, right? They're not hiring us for the cheapest estimate to cut the tree down. So number one, they're vetted pretty well as a potential client, and we do a lot of education. So if you're the homeowner, Michael, I'm not going to say, okay, it's going to be, pick a number, $1,800 to trim your tree. I'm going to teach you arboriculture. My salesman, my dad, we're going to teach you arboriculture so you know why we're recommending certain things. And after we've educated you as the consumer, you have this image in your head of what it should look like. So when it comes out that way, comes out of the oven done, it's exactly what the written proposal said, word for word, or mock-up photos. So a ton of front-end communication based on education.
Beautiful. Okay, one thing I ask every business owner that comes on the podcast is one thing that you're struggling with or currently just trying to improve in your business.
How long do we have? Struggles, okay? Personally, I struggle with delegating tasks to people. I'm a workaholic and very fixated on an end goal, and I'll just do it myself as my own crutch. So that's a personal deal. And then as far as business hurdle, always more work, right? More work, but growing and educating and building our team members. How can I take my set of guys and build them into killers in life? And so I've put, this year I put 5 guys through certified arborist training. 5 of my crew leaders, all right, come on, join the team. Let's get your certs so we can come to seminars and learn. So that's a pain point. Did you ask me a horror? Did you ask me that question?
I'll ask you that
Okay.
next. Okay, and yeah, so alluding to that, a horror story you've experienced in your time in business, just because our audience is typically just starting out or very young in in business, so kind of help them, understand what can happen to maybe put guardrails in place to help them prevent that from happening. But horror story that you've experienced in your time in business.
Yeah, so I've been soaking on that for 10 minutes, and I'm like, well, how do I come up with a good one? I mean, sure, this broke or this thing over here, and I struggled with finding an example. Our employee base, they're really awesome people, right? So I don't have a huge personality problem. Everybody has a driver's license and passed a drug test. I mean, I like to hire good people. Of course.
Sorry, with that being said, your employees, good personalities, did that just happen over time, or do you have to call the herd a little bit, or how have you kind of done that?
So in 2012, there was a mass exodus. Everybody quit. All the employees quit independent tree service in 2012. I was living in Gainesville. I'd finished college. My dad called. Said, Jordan, it's time. I need you. Okay, so 3 days later, I moved back to Tampa, and we started over. Okay, we pulled 3 employees back from everybody that left, and then I've rebuilt it from there. So everybody was new hire, and I learned by error. I hired some turds out there, and I've learned to be patient and onboard a good quality person. So we kind of recreated things, and it's super helpful. But the horror story is an employee named Matt who cut himself pretty badly with a chainsaw. We got our act together, right? So we don't have a whole lot of critical errors, and we're pretty safety conscious. Like, that's a key value, if you will. And Matt, one of our crew leaders, who's the most safety conscious guy. He's the guy that's going to bark on another crew member because they don't have their hard hat on or they're not wearing their chainsaw chaps. But he cut his leg with a chainsaw, and it ended up infection, antibiotic via PICC line. Then they had to do a full knee replacement for infection that went into the bone. And so this was 2 years ago, and he's still walking. He's walking now, but he didn't walk for probably 8 months. And so workman's comp claim, the whole deal, and it changed his life. He was a climber. He's not climbing trees anymore. And it killed the fire in him. Like, he was a crew leader, he was a killer, and now it's just, damn, like, that spark died. So that, for me, seeing that, a physical injury, and then like what it did emotionally.
That's thanks for sharing that, first off. One thing that I didn't tell you that I ask every business owner is one thing you know now that you wish you knew from the very beginning. This could be business related, this can be personal related, but what's one thing you know now that you wish you knew from the very beginning?
My own value. And I'm going to put this back before I moved to Tampa, okay? I graduated college and studied horticulture, and I had my own landscaping business, okay? Independent tree service is what I always wanted to be, but I needed to prove to myself that I can do it on my own without daddy, right? Without silver spoon in my mouth. So I started Independent Landscape. Yeah, wonder where I got that name from, right? In Gainesville, to do it on my own, to prove it to myself. And in the first year in business, I think I got close to $90,000 in gross revenue, but I worked like a dog, and I was my own employee. I was the laborer. I didn't charge enough. Okay, I would bid it to get it. Any job, I'm desperate. I'm taking on some job for $80 because I bid it for 4 hours of labor. So me, for $20 an hour, for $80, I'm busting my ass for a half a day here and working my way out of business. And I can only appreciate that lesson because I lived it and I was in poverty doing it. And now, representing myself and my business as the leaders in the industry in my market, we charge a consult fee. Your new business and you Google us, we're charging you to show up, to talk and educate you. We'll credit it to the invoice if you sign up. But that I want you as the consumer to be that motivated for what I'm going to propose to you.
Jordan, thanks so much. You also have, besides the business, a podcast. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Green Side Up podcast, it is with myself and my old college roommate, Jason, from Skyfrog Landscape. So it's a green industry podcast about landscaping and arboriculture and real-life war stories from two different businesses and a little mini peer group between me and Jason on how we solve those problems. So Green Side Up podcast.
Jordan, thanks for joining the How to Hardscape podcast.
Righteous.
Joined by Josh Sutton at HNA. Josh, how you doing?
We're doing good. I just flew in.
Flew into HNA, and usually you drive and you do the RV thing?
Yeah, we usually tow the camper, attend the Bro Life breakfast. This year I'm kind of flying solo, so taking it easy.
So that means no Scheller?
No Scheller. He had to stay home for a football game, so.
Disappointing. Josh, how's the season been for you so far this year?
We've been doing really well. Got kind of a lull there in the summer and picking up here as fall has come around. We've had a varied crew, which I guess is one of the biggest struggles we've kind of faced this year is manpower. So there's been plenty of work just trying to develop new systems, get new guys in. We've had a lot of good guys interview though recently. So we started advertising as an apprenticeship instead of a laborer positions, kind of changed the title a little. So it's been cool to see the different quality of guys that we're getting apply now. So it's kind of scary, but right now we're looking at hiring right before winter. So we got a lot of work to do. So I've got to get some more guys in and get all the work done. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
You guys go year round or slow down a little bit?
We will slow down. January, February, get a little rocky in Kansas City, but it's usually warm enough to where we can still get in. We'll use heat blankets to cover the ground and keep working the best we can. We may have 3 or 4 weeks off, but a lot of the guys that we have will kind of either we'll go part-time and I'll pay them for 30 hours or they'll just go on unemployment for a little bit and then come back. So, but yeah, like I said, hopefully we can keep them around, get some of these new guys trained, use the winter time to train them for spring. We're selling spring jobs now, so I think it'll be pretty good.
Awesome. So things are going much better. Spring jobs booking up, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, definitely things have changed because we were, like I said, in summer we were really slow, just praying for anything to come through, and now it's kind of like a fire hose that's been unleashed on us, and we're just trying to figure out how to get it all done now. So,
in those interviews with those new employees, what kind of question, or if you've already done them, what kind of questions are you going to ask, or did you already ask to kind of see where they're at quality-wise?
We're looking more for attitude, so we're trying to find out what really motivates them, makes them tick, what things they're into. We're training on how to do the work, so I just want a solid guy with character who's motivated, will show up and wants to learn and be a part of the crew, be productive, not just necessarily somebody that comes in with a bunch of skill and may have to break bad habits and whatnot. So we're just really trying to get to know them as a person and figure out what makes them tick, really.
Josh, I've been asking this to every business owner I've been interviewing at the show. That's what are you struggling with right now, currently, or what are you trying to just improve in your business? What are you focused on?
I'm trying to improve my leadership. I need to be a leader of leaders and not just be the one man out in the field directing 1 or 2 guys. So I want to grow leaders, and in order to do that, I need to work on my leadership skills. So that's really what I've been focused on, and building systems to help manage the crews when I'm not there, so I don't have to physically be there, because I kind of want to grow this thing now. I've been at it for 11 years, and we've done well, but I haven't really grown people-wise. So I just want to grow a couple crews this coming year in 2026 and and kind of pull myself out of the field a little bit more. I'm a craftsman. I love doing all the work myself, but I got to get out of the way and let this thing grow. So that's my goal.
And then when you're talking about improving your leadership, how are you going to go about that? Or do you have any resources that you kind of lean on or things like that?
Yeah, we've gotten pretty heavily into Leanscaper now. We're accelerator members of that, so I have weekly sprints that are focused on leadership, and then I've been reading a lot of books. I attend all these conferences and just get around other people that I want to be like, guys that have already done what I want to do. So I'm just trying to focus on that, and I listen to a lot of podcasts and always trying to learn and be a little bit better than I was the day before. So just kind of typical things, but just being intentional, not just letting each day come and go without being focused on, like, what can I improve on today? Like, how can I improve? Can I handle a relationship a little bit better, or a conflict, or there's all kinds of stresses in business. I've just been trying to control how I react to them and just make little adjustments, mindset shifts, I guess, is my focus.
Well, Josh, I've always appreciated you when you come on the podcast, the roundtables, and just seeing you at HNA. Just want to say thanks for being on the show again.
Yeah, it's awesome to see you. Love that you travel down here from Canada, and love your support down here for all of us guys. It's been awesome to get to know you over the years, and I just appreciate your friendship.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
We want to take a break from today's episode to thank our sponsor, Cycle CPA. It's crucial to review your financial statements on a monthly basis so you can diagnose areas for improving your business's financial health early before they become significant issues. Too many contractors wait until the end of the year to review their financials as they file taxes, when it's often too late to take action to change the outcome. Cycle CPA not only handles bookkeeping and taxes, but they also ensure that you're armed with financial data on a monthly basis to make key business decisions. They offer benchmarking, cash flow forecasting, and assistance in developing targets for financial metrics. With their team of accountants specialized in the hardscape and landscape industry, they currently work with hundreds of companies in this field. Visit cyclecpa.com, and for $200 off, mention the How to Hardscape podcast. Now back to our episode. We want to take a break from today's episode to talk about marketing. Are you looking to take your hardscape business to the next level? Well, this is brought to you by Patio SEO, the leading marketing and brand building company in the hardscape industry. And if you don't know, this company is run by James Reed, who owns multiple hardscape businesses across the country. And here's the kicker. You're not just getting access to any team. You're getting access to the very team that helped grow James's own companies, plus hundreds of others in the industry. Whether you need a killer website, targeted ads, or data-driven strategies to grow, Patio SEO has got you covered. They've been in your shoes and know exactly what works. We've had James Reed on the podcast a couple of times, and they're some of our more popular episodes, talking about branding, talking about how he's built companies across the country. And with that, he needs lots of leads, which means he's had to perfect his branding and marketing. And now you can have access to that same in-house team that he has access to for his own hardscape company. So if you're ready to build your brand and see some serious growth, check them out at patioseo.com. That's patioseo.com, or follow James on Instagram at Road to 100Ms. That's Road to 100MS. Let's get your business the attention it deserves. Now back to the episode. Joined here, HNA. I just met you. What's your name in business?
Jake, and my company is Complete Hardscapes.
Awesome. And you're also out of Kansas, so right by Josh.
Yeah, Kansas City, Missouri.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then how many employees do you have, crews going?
Just myself right now. I kind of work for myself, by myself.
That's awesome. It's kind of my business model as well. But in terms of that, what do you offer? Services? Are you strictly hardscape, or do you get into other things?
Hardscape, landscaping, drainage work. I do a lot of retaining walls. Drainage work, for the most part, is kind of what I do most of. So.
Nice. And then how long have you been in business for?
About 15 years.
Wow. And then what did you do before this to kind of get the business launched?
A bunch of different things. I did foundation repair and drainage work, landscaping. Just kind of fell into hardscaping, and I like that side of it. So.
Beautiful. Okay. And so at the show, I've Actually, I'll ask you this, HNA. Why do you make time to come to HNA, and what are you trying to find this year at the show?
Well, I first started coming here with a group of peers that from Kansas City, Josh Sutton. That's kind of why I came. But to begin with, just seeing the industry and the different new products every year has been good. It's my 5th time here. Kind of skip a year every now and then, but it's good to come and see all the new products and meet new people. So.
Absolutely. And so one question that I've been asking everybody that I've been interviewing here is something you're struggling with right now in your business, or it could just be something that you're just currently trying to improve or get better in your business. Do you have something like that you are working on?
Right now, I think leads and getting a lot more good qualified leads and filling the lead funnel has probably been my biggest struggle all summer, throughout the fall too. But I think the leads for the most part coming in to keep projects moving and going forward, I think leads is probably the struggle right now.
Is that a this year problem, or how has this year been in general for you guys in terms of the market?
I've stayed busy. I've had some slow weeks, slow times of the month, but I think this year the leads have been very slow to come in, and generally I've had a lot more leads throughout even the week. I normally get more leads in a week than I have, and I might be getting the same throughout the month that I was getting in a week, like last year or a couple of years in the past. But I think the leads this year is probably the biggest struggle.
And going into 2026, do you think things are going to kind of remain the same, or are you working in the background to kind of improve that lead flow, like websites, things like that? What are you currently trying to do to improve that?
I've relied heavily on Google SEO for the last few years. I'm starting to do more Facebook ads and different avenues of advertising than solely relying on the Google AdWords.
Well, Jake, pleasure to get to meet you at the show. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Here at HNA, joined by
Alex Franson.
And Derby City Pools, as well as you were just telling me, the landscape company. Can you tell me a bit about both of them?
So we've got 2 brands. We've got a pool brand, which is Derby City Pools and Outdoor Living. And then we have our landscape brand, which is the Franson Group. So essentially, the pools get us in these beautiful projects, and then our landscape company comes behind and does all the icing on the cake.
Gotcha. And then how long have you been in business? And did the landscape company come before Derby City Pools, and then you brought Derby City Pools in?
So I've been in the industry for a little over 30 years now. My background's turf and horticulture. I've always been in the landscape industry, and we were always going behind the pool contractors, making them look really good. So we decided to take on the pool industry and capture the whole project. That's kind of the soup and nuts of that.
Gotcha, nice. And then coming to HNA, really close for you being in Louisville. What do you try to accomplish? Do you guys have a booth for Derby City Pools, or what do you try to accomplish coming here?
So education piece. Okay. The value and the education that's in this whole facility is huge. And I still don't think a lot of my guys understand, just because we're so fortunate being in Louisville, that there's so many people from all over the country and the world that come to Louisville for these 3 days to be educated, meet with the vendors. They're spending so much more money than us. And to be able to have this in our backyard and be able to bring my guys each year and get their CEU credits, continuous ed, learn from the best, see the best products, has really elevated us in our market.
This year, how have you experienced the market in general? Is it a slower year than usual, a little bit more work to get sales? How has it been for you?
So coming out of COVID, everything's different now. We had a lot of sold work, pretty much took us into the middle of the summer, and then we were hit this lull. It was very difficult to sell this year, it seemed like. There's probably a 2-month lull there, and then everything just picked back up again. So fortunately, we've got some higher end residents and builders that we deal with. They're kind of unaffected by any economic downturn. So we're still doing those projects, but definitely it's a little bit slower this year for sure.
Gotcha. And so how do you kind of pivot and adjust once things kind of slow down? Is it meeting with the sales team, making sure that they're following up, and how does that kind of look like for you?
Yeah, it's just really more boots on the ground. So we're just hitting a lot more avenues. During COVID, it was more order taking. So the sales process really had to change, and our business development team has really had to step back. We've had to analyze what we were doing and change our whole format, because it's really, like I said, during COVID, we were just order takers. Everybody wanted everything. Now we've got to get out there and really bootstrap and hit the streets hard to get work again.
That might answer my next question here, but something you're struggling with or currently trying to improve in your business. Any struggles or something you're trying to improve?
Yeah, efficiencies. So really honing in on efficiencies, time waste or time suck or whatever you want to call that. Shop time, drive time, all those things. Making sure materials on the job, making sure that we can be as efficient as possible so that we can really shave those digits down has been kind of our big scale this year, I guess you would say. As we're slower, we need to work on other things that are going to improve our bottom line.
All right, and Alex, since this is your first time on the podcast, I have 2 questions that I always ask every person that comes on the show. One is a horror story or something you've kind of experienced in business that was put you back a little bit, or only because our audience usually just starting out or first year to third year in business, kind of give them a guideline of what can happen in their business and maybe prevent that for them. But do you have a horror story you'd want to share with us?
I've got a great one, actually. So I have always been that guy that never really wanted to do the first product or buy the first tool or something that came to market. I want to see how everyone else reacts with it or uses it first. So this happened probably 12 years ago. When porcelain really came out, we tried it, and we had a huge failure. And I could not get the manufacturer to back us or support us or even give us the right instructions for installation. And then I came out to the show and I found the actual producer, an Italian company that made the product, and I go to them and I said, hey, this is the way we were told to install it. And they said, no, that's not the way you install it. So we rectified the problem, but it was very difficult because the local representation that we had to buy this product was not standing behind it. So we don't do porcelain anymore. It's probably improved, but that was a big hit for us because I ended up pulling the whole thing up and having to redo it.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. The last question I have for you is one thing you know now that you wish you knew from the very beginning. Could be personal related, business related, but what's one thing you know now you wish you knew from the very beginning?
So one thing I will tell like the younger contractors, if you are starting out, I'll give you 3 things. The 3 things I wish I knew starting was operational software, get QuickBooks, and get a peer group coach. If you can do that, if you do those 3 things, you will decrease the curve, I guess, and increase your profits and the headaches that you're not going to endure for those years. I mean, I beat my head for 10 years trying to figure stuff out, and as soon as I had all those 3 pieces put together, stuff started to click, and it just happened a lot faster.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining us. Where can our audience find out more about the 2 businesses that you have, or you yourself? Where would you want to send them to?
Yeah, we've got all the social media platforms. We got a YouTube channel. So you just check us out. Google us, derbycitypools.com. You'll see us out there. We got a lot of really great content, a lot of really good footage. And then you can see me. I'm on LinkedIn and everywhere else at Alex Franson.
Alex, thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
We want to take a break from today's episode to thank our sponsor, Knowledge Tree Consulting. They are efficiency consultants in the industry with 35 plus years of industry experience building Oriole landscaping in Toronto, which they are completely hands off at this point. George and Peter have been on the podcast before, and George on multiple occasions now. I've personally leaned on him to help with the How to Hardscape headquarters software and how we can maximize the efficiency of user experience. And I know the guys at DTE Landscaping, Chuck and Jeffrey, who we've also had on the show multiple times, have hired them on in the past. Check out their consulting services, peer groups, and events that are coming up on their website, knowledgetreeconsulting.com, or check them out on Instagram at joinktc. Now back to our episode.
Joined here by Caleb Bauman at HNA. Caleb, how you doing?
I'm well, man. How art thou?
I am good too. HNA, you guys come every year. Why do you make time to come to HNA?
Why do we decide to, Mike? Is that what you said?
Why do you make time to come to HNA? What's the goal to get out of it when you guys come?
Anymore, the big goal for me is just the community, man. There's so many awesome people here we've got to know over the years, and through all the magic of social media, you know the deal, man. Like, hell, I'm seeing you and Chad here. How cool is this? And unfortunately, Paper King couldn't be with us, but he's in spirit. But man, it nowadays it's more so about just the connections and seeing people and saying hey, but also still trying to stay abreast of like what's going on in the industry, especially in the hardscape world, trying to keep up on the sands and the tools and all this stuff. So I want to stay as up to speed on stuff as I possibly can of what's out there, because we always want to, for like our own social channels, try to stay as relevant as we can, and also for our own clients, make sure we're offering the most up-to-date stuff that's functional and useful.
Anything that stuck out to you at the show, or more so just perusing and meeting the vendors that you already deal with?
I'm hanging up on technology, and so like, yeah, there's cool tools and some cool equipment, but the autonomous mowing I'm really hanging up on. And I saw an autonomous snow thrower, and it was just running a route on a mountainside somewhere, blowing snow all night. I think that technology is going to be, I feel like it's a wave that's about to crash over North America, and people don't see it coming. And so I'm really interested by the robotics and the AI run robotics. And then there's also some AI software down the road here that handles client interactions and selling and stuff like that. And it's not Leanscaper, it's another one. And I don't know what it means or where it leads to or how it affects the world or our industry, but I'm just trying to keep an eye on it, and just anything we could maybe apply, cool. So that's what I'm just trying to just always keep up on.
I have been asking everybody, how's the market been? It seems everybody was either slower or up and down. What did you guys experience, and how did you adjust or be able to, get past this year?
Here, what is it, 2026 here, or no, 2025, geez, dude, I don't know what year it is even, you shouldn't be asking me anything. But yeah, in the year of our Lord here, Anno Domini 2025, it's been softer, but yet, like, there's still, with projects we've been seeing, we're still putting in some large projects, but we are seeing a lot more price shopping, a lot more thinking about projects, right? And but I'll tell you, we started to see that a year and a half ago. We started to see, at least in Columbus, Ohio, a shift, and that told me what I needed to know even like midsummer last year. Like, we're actually going to have to work on selling again and getting better with our salesmanship and explaining why we're the better option, in our market. And so that being said, we started to see it again this spring, and our summer was kind of slow. Our August was dead. We still had work, but it ate up our backlog. And but then we had 3 massive projects approved for the fall, and now we're very busy with that. But we are seeing a lot of the middle market stuff, the $20,000 patios and stuff like that, get way more competitive. And so we're trying to show ourselves the door when it comes to those projects, and focus on really large residential now, because I think that money's always going to get invested no matter what, barring a depression, right? So that's my philosophy at the moment. You ask me this next year, and that may be totally different, but I know we are seeing softer market for sure.
The question that I actually was the only one I told you I was going to ask you, but anytime I get Caleb Bauman on the How to Hardscape podcast, I'm going to take advantage of that. Caleb, what are you struggling with right now in your business, or currently working on improving actively?
Being a better business partner. My wife comes up with really good ideas and good input and good thought leadership that I'm generally resistant to. And so I'm trying to be more open and receptive to that. So I'm really struggling with that because I'm being a jerk. And so, yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I'm struggling with. Other than that, I'm just internally struggling with, or wrestling with, like, am I communicating with my team and my clients as best as I can? And we're doing a good job, but I know there's a lot more potential to be really good at that. And so that's kind of bugging me. But again, it's just something it takes time to get better at.
Caleb, thanks so much for your time. Where can our audience find you? More about you.
We're anywhere at Almond Landscape on all the socials. We have a Kid Contractor podcast. It may not be for everyone as well. I don't know, but yeah, man, you guys are a ton of fun. I always enjoy listening to your real world conversation stuff. It's a great time. So thanks for having me on. I'm honored.
Thanks, Caleb. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. If you haven't already, leave us a rating, review, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening to this. It really does help. And be sure to check out our sponsors if you are looking for any of their services. It was a great time at HNA. I hope you can make it next year. And it was great to be able to see everybody at the show that I did and get to meet a lot of new people. And hopefully we can catch you in 2026. But before we leave you, I want to say thank you to our sponsors. Cycle CPA. If you're looking for bookkeeping, accounting, CFO services, reach out to Cycle CPA at cyclecpa.com. Let them know How to Hardscape sent you for money off their services there. PatioSEO.com. And now you know Patio SEO can take your hardscape business to the next level. James Reed and his expert team have built a reputation on success, not just for their own companies, but for hundreds of others just like yours. So don't wait. Visit PatioSEO.com to learn more and get started. But also be sure to follow James's journey on Instagram at Road to 100Ms. That's Road to 100MS for behind the scenes tips and insights. And I do recommend checking that out and following along to that. Ready to build your brand? Patio SEO is here to help you every step of the way. And Knowledge Tree Consulting. George and Peter there are efficiency consultants in our industry, and I've had the privilege of having them both on one episode of the How to Hardscape podcast, and George multiple other times. Always great episodes, and I also got to sit down on a one-on-one with George and went through what they do for businesses, and I left that meeting with a lot of value, so I can't recommend them enough. If you want to learn more about what they do, go to knowledgetreeconsulting.com and get that conversation started with them today. And we look forward to meeting with you next week on the How to Hardscape podcast.